Here's what you should know about your local housing market in this week's market update. Your local housing market has become ever so challenging to navigate. The stats are all over the place, and the homes that I've represented sellers on in the past few weeks that I've brought to market, I've seen multiple offers, and I've seen the offers all over the place. I mean, I'm talking homes that we've ended up selling way over asking price. We've got multiple offers, and some of them are way over the asking price. Some of them are under the asking price, and some of them are just a little bit above the asking price. But what that tells me is that a lot of the buyers and a lot of the agents are completely out of touch. I'm seeing a bigger spread between the offers that I'm getting than I have ever seen, especially since since COVID times when we first started seeing these multiple offer situations become a regularity. These stats are all over the place. I mean, number one, you've got the national stats telling us that homes are staying on the market longer, prices are coming down, and even our local stats, we'll see as we get into this week, they really are all over the place. We don't have a lot of data to go with. The inventory is, we've been talking about low inventory for years now. The inventory is astronomically low. There really is nothing to choose from. And why is that a challenge? Yes, the obvious of there's not a lot of homes to choose from. You're going to have more buyers than you have sellers, which creates a demand, which creates increase in prices in these bidding wars. But on top of that, if you are not in the mix, if you are not out there doing the deals and building the relationships with the other agents to be able to share this information, all you have to go by is the stats. And honestly, the stats are confusing. We've been able to the last year or so, when we look at the weekly stats, we were able to get a lot of information and really get a good idea of what's going on with the market. I'll tell you quite honestly, as we get into these stats, they really don't paint an accurate picture. If you're following these stats to guide your offers on homes, you're going to not get the home. You're going to be misguided. You're going to be probably way off the mark. But that being said, let's get into the stats this week and see if we can make some sort of sense of it. So new homes coming on the market this week. We had 37 homes come on the market this week in Morristown, Chatham, Madison, Harding, Mars Plains, Mendham, Chester, Bernardsville, Basking Ridge, and Randolph. So 37 homes came on the market this past week. That is down 21% from last week. Could that have something to do with the Super Bowl and potentially the snow and negative weather we had this past week? Maybe. I mean, the forecasts were way higher than we actually got, so that could have been a factor. But we had 37 homes come on the market this past week. Mars Township had the most with 8 homes. All of these towns had less homes come on the market this past week than the prior week, except for Harding and Bernardsville. Otherwise, we saw a number of homes coming on the market down anywhere from 20% in Mars Plains to 67% in Randolph. 26 of these homes were single-family homes. 11 of those were condos or townhouses. The average list price of these homes was $1,354,000. We saw the highest average list price in Harding with $3,837,000, with Mendham in second place at $2,570,000. And then we had Chatham at $1.5 million. Otherwise, all of these average list prices were below $1 million, which is, we have not seen much of that lately. So that's a little surprising. And the average list price, some of these towns were up and some of them were down. It was kind of a 50-50 split on whether those list prices were up or down. Total inventory. Currently we have 165 homes actively on the market in these towns. That is up slightly with 4%. So a little surprising. We've got way less homes coming on the market this past week, but we do have inventory up over the prior week. Inventory is even or up in all but 3 of these towns. Inventory is down in Madison, Harding, and Basking Ridge. Otherwise, the rest of these towns we're seeing inventory increase over the prior week. Not a great increase though, nothing crazy. So it's not like we're seeing huge gains on the inventory. Sold homes. This past week, we saw 12 homes sell in these towns. That is a decrease of 37% over the prior week. That is pretty wild. That's a big decrease. And we've got about a 50-50 split, not in terms of homes sold being up or down. I'm talking about homes even being sold. In about half of these towns, we didn't see any homes sell this past week. None. So Chatham, we saw no homes sold. Harding, no homes sold this past week. Mendham, Chester, Bernardsville, and Randolph, not a single home sold this past week. Average list price of the home sold this past week, $879,000. Average sale price, $867,000. So this past week, overall for these towns, surprisingly, homes sold at 0.6% below the list price. So this is surprising that homes sold below the list price. And out of these towns, granted, reminder, out of all these towns, we've got 4 towns that actually had homes sell. So very few of them actually had homes sell, and only one of them homes sold above list price. So Morristown and Morris Township, homes sold for an average of 6.2% above list price this past week. We're seeing really strong numbers in Morristown and Morris Township. However, Madison, they sold 1.4% below list price. Mars Plains, homes sold 4.1% below list price. And Basking Ridge, they sold 3% below list price. Average days on market, this number is surprising, 76 days, average days on market in these towns. However, that is strongly skewed by Madison with an average days on market this past week of 190 days. Morristown saw average days on market of only 17 days. So that is a significant difference between the greatest number of days on market and the lowest number of days on market. And then we had Mars Plains and Basking Ridge with 48 and 47 days on market. So big divide between towns right now in terms of how they are performing. Under contract this past week, we saw 23 homes go under contract in these towns. That is a 15% decrease over the prior week. And we had two towns, that would be Harding and Mendham. Also, those towns saw no homes sell this past week. They also saw no homes go under contract this past week. So that's surprising. And then in Morris Plains, Chester, and Bernardsville, we only saw one home go under contract. So we saw the greatest homes go under contract in Morristown. That was 7 homes under contract, and that still is a 13% decrease over the prior week. Average list price of the homes that went under contract, $965,000. That's a 31% decrease over last week. And the median days on market was 19 days on the market. And that's a 51% increase of days on market over the prior week for homes that went under contract. And we saw about a 50-50 split in terms of days on market, whether that went up or down. But we saw Morristown and Chatham homes on the market for less days than over the prior week. So numbers are kind of all over the place. You really need to be honed in on your local market specifically. And even then, you have to know what's going on in the front lines. You really have to have the inside scoop because the stats are not really matching with what we're seeing on the deals that we're doing. So thanks for checking in with us. We hope you have a great weekend, and we'll catch you guys next week.